Hey everybody, this is Freddie with LeviathanScuba.com. I'm here today to try to solve the great debate on split fins. Are they amazing or do they suck? We'll get to that in just a minute. So, split fin technology, are they good or do they suck? I mean, that's the question that if you were to go out and search on the internet, that needs to be answered because people are so divided. I get so many comments on our review videos and they're both for and against, or they're arguing with me. If I say, they're great, people say, no, they're terrible. If I say this one's terrible, they go, no, I love them. Right? So it's this controversy that's kind of stuck in my heart for a little bit to try to get to the bottom of it. Why are people so divided? You know, they're smart. They think about it. They use the product. They're telling the truth. So they have legitimate arguments. I'm convinced one way. I'm pretty sure you're going to see how I land by the end of this video. So let's just kind of go back to the early 1700s, right? The first guys cut thin pieces of wood and just literally tied them to their feet. Those were the first fins, right? Technology didn't change for a long time. Today you have hundreds and hundreds of choices available to you. All different shapes and sizes and colors and designs and for all different kinds of purposes, right? Most of what you're going to find are what's called a blade fin. It's a foot pocket of some sort connected to a blade, whether they're molded together, screwed together, something like that. And that's what you're going to find the bulk of them. But technology is changing. So the first patented swim fin was in 1933. And it was molded, it was plastic, and it was a foot pocket with a blade attached, okay? Didn't change again until 48 when the first full foot fin was designed. And then again in 1964, a fin that had vents cut into the thing to allow the fin to kick easier. Basically, they put holes in it so it kicks easier, let water out, okay? Less efficient, but it was more comfortable for the human to propel it. Then it was a big jump. It was not until 1997 when Nature's Wings patented the split fin technology and design. So it wasn't until then that you got your first look at split fins. Okay, today you have all different kinds of fins available to you. For example, you have super long fins like freediving fins. You have fins, as I mentioned, showed with vents in them. You have straps, you have full foot pocket for your whole foot to fit in the back, okay? But I want to spend time today really just trying to solve the mystery of the split fin technology. Perhaps you've tried them and you're very opinionated one way or the other. Perhaps you haven't tried them yet, but you're confused because you can't find anybody landing on the answer that's going to help you decide for yourself, okay? So let's just talk a little bit about, if you're not familiar with them, and I'll keep it brief, what a split fin is. It's not just an existing fin that you split the blade. They were literally engineered. They started from scratch. And what they did was they wanted to create a fin that had new technology. To compete in the world of fins, they had to have something different, new, and some sort of an improvement or benefit to the diver or the snorkeler. So what they did was they kind of started from scratch. And they were very smart about it. They mimicked nature. Okay? The fins were designed after a seal's flipper. Okay, if you know the seals, they have splits in them and they have two sides to them, and they're very maneuverable in the water, and they're very quick and very efficient. So they started from scratch and they took some of the best parts about scuba fins that were out there and snorkeling fins. Like, for example, a hard foot pocket. You want the foot pocket to be stiff for a scuba fin because you don't flow through the water with all your gear on too easy. You need more thrust, more power. So with your foot in here, if it's all soft and mushy, it just goes up and down. It doesn't transfer the energy to the end of the blade, okay? But a hard foot pocket, I can't even bend this, right? That's gonna trap the foot in there. When it goes up and down, the whole blade's gonna move, transferring energy. Next, they had to grab a lot of water. And you notice like this fin in particular doesn't have holes in it to let the water through. That just makes it easier to kick. For the life of me, I don't know why we do it. I would suggest to the manufacturers, take the holes out. If you need to make it kick easier, make it shorter. Okay, at least you grab all the water, you get the use of all the water that you grabbed every time. So they designed the fin with a side bolster that grabbed a lot of water, okay? In some cases, a little bit of a scoop to grab it on the back kick. Then they thought about the fin design. If you think about a blade fin, they have a thrust surface right here, okay? Whatever that dimension is. Sometimes they'll do it convex and sometimes concave to give you a longer line to grab more water, okay? Some straight across. Well, the split fin still has that. You still have the blade edge. It has about the same amount, but they put this split in it all the way up. And I don't know if you can see it on here, but the channels and the guides, they channel the water towards the middle. And this gray material in this case is stiff. It's kind of hard, but it's surrounded by a softer silicone. And so it adds some stiffness to the blade, some uniformity, but it channels the water towards the middle. So if you think about it, this particular fin right here has almost 5 times the thrust surface of any other kind of fin that's out there, if you can use it for thrust. And remember I said it's like a seal's flipper. So when you kick, it kind of does this, right? And you get thrust of that water coming up through here. It also has another side effect, which is kind of nice. It lets the water through the blade, which makes it easier to kick. But it's using that water, not just releasing it. It's using the water by gaining thrust as it comes off the blade surface, okay? So that's what a split fin basically is. If you've used one, you're going to be opinionated, right? And we're going to cover why. But I'm going to say you're going to love them or you're going to hate them. That's what most people's comments are either way. They actually don't feel, when you first try one, even a good one, when you put it on your foot and you kick, you're going to notice something very different than a regular fin. And that is, because it is releasing the water, it kicks. They're about 60% more efficient, meaning less energy to get the same amount of thrust. So when you kick them, they feel easier to kick. When you first try it, you think, wow, I'm not sure if this really works too good because it's just too easy to kick. How could that possibly be? Easier, right? But if you start to count kick cycles and you measure how quickly you're moving through the water with the same amount of energy, then you're going to notice that there's an improvement. By releasing the water, if you think about some of the more popular fin designs out there, and they put the vents or the holes or the gaps in the blade to release it, they're just trying to make it easier, but they're not really getting any thrust out of it. Whereas the split fin technology does add thrust to the fin itself. You hear the people that are against the split fins, right? And what do they say? They say it doesn't move any water, it's less efficient, right? They're ineffective. They won't frog kick. Takes too many kicks to go anywhere. I use too much air out of my scuba tank, right? Things like that. And then you listen to the comments of those that love their split fins, and they're going to say, wow, it's so much easier to kick. I get a lot more thrust. I save air in my scuba tank, right? It's almost exact opposite. How could they both be right? But I'm here to say they are. They're both right. It's crazy, right? That they could both be true. But is this a case of opinions being on the same thing? Or perhaps could they be commenting, giving their opinions on two different products? Right? I think that's the answer. So I think we've discovered why they're so divided, right? And I have a unique position here. You've seen our reviews. We get all kinds of gear. Manufacturers throw it at us and they say, hey, tell us what you think. Sometimes before it even comes on the market. I love that because then it's constructive, and we've had manufacturers change things because of what we told them. I love that. I also have a large staff, and some of these guys are old as dirt. Right? I'm not talking about anybody specific, John, but anyway, they've been diving for a long time. They're professionals. They're not just newbie beginners, they're professionals, and they all have opinions on their gear, and they even side differently with each other. But I get the perspective from both of them and their expertise. We also have trained thousands of divers, and a lot of them, they show up with gear. Obviously, it's an expensive sport. They show up sometimes with cheap stuff they bought at the discount store, and it's no good, but we get to see all different kinds. Now, I'm not going to say I've tried every single kind of split fin that's ever manufactured out there, but I know what makes a good one, and I've tried the good and the bad. When split fins first came out in 1997, I think is when that's when Nature's Wings patented the design. I want to make a point that the very first ones ever made were made engineered quality materials. They engineered to be that product that replaced other fins, and they had to have an improvement to make them sell well and be a good product received by divers. Not just newbie divers that don't know a heck of a lot about equipment, but what about all those seasoned guys that I've been using my jet fins for 37 years, right? Okay, they had to make a splash in that market, and they had to try to come and bring a product that was going to be an improvement. So, engineered well, good materials, they came out with the product, and it worked fantastic. When they first hit, they sold like crazy. They became the most popular fin design ever. That was in 1997. Okay, and so what happens when you have a great product and it's selling like crazy? All these other manufacturers want to keep up. They want to sell a lot of fins too. So what do? They start designing their own split fins. Now, the ones that had to go with the patent Nature's Wings had to adhere to some of the quality parts and pieces and features and benefits of the scuba fins that were already made. So you had different manufacturers. Some made great ones. They're fantastic, hardly discernible from each other. They all do the same thing. They're just great. Okay, so you buy your favorite color or you buy your favorite price, whichever. But some of them, like many products in the world, when somebody wants to make it a little bit more cheaply, perhaps just jump on the bandwagon to sell a bunch, they made them worse, okay? They didn't use the same quality materials. They didn't use stiffer composite materials and things like that. Kind of an example would be this fin here. And you can check it in our reviews. We actually review this fin. But I'm going to ask you a question. I won't even have to say, how much water do you think this moves? Right? This was a previous technology fin. This was a fin that already existed that they put a big split in it. That split just lets water out. It doesn't do anything. I'm telling you, this is, in my opinion, one of the worst fins on the market. And it was designed cheaply out of a single material. It was branded and was sold to people. Now, you have a super high quality fin that somebody buys. What kind of an opinion do you think the person that falls in love with this fin? It saves their cramping, less energy, more speed, more distance, easier to kick, easy to travel with. I mean, they use this fin. What are their comments going to be like? I'm going to invite you to do the same exact thing. If you have an avenue somewhere to try somebody's, go find a good one, okay? And we have videos that talk about how to buy the right scuba or snorkel fin. It'll give you all the points to pay attention to when you're looking for a fin. You're going to know the difference. But I'm going to say to you, I don't even have to say anything, do I? I mean, this, you think your foot pocket in here, this is just going to get all woogly and not transfer any of the energy out to the end. I don't have to say brand. I don't have to say material. You're going to know. You're going to say, hey, one of these lets the water out. It doesn't grab any water. I have to kick too much. I use all the air in my tank. I don't hardly go anywhere. And I get exhausted at the end of the day. It doesn't move any water. The same you is going to try the other fin and go, wow, I cruise with these things and I go fast, right? I'll give you an example. So one day I'm talking to somebody about split fins and they end up liking them. And, you know, I do have an opinion. I am biased. I love the things. So I have an instructor. And when I'm done with the sale, the people buy the product, they buy the split fins, and they leave. He just kind of mutters under his breath over a cup of coffee and says, that is such BS. I said, well, what do you mean BS? What do you mean? He goes, oh, that stuff you were saying about the split fins, they suck. I go, what? No, they don't suck. What, do you think I'm lying to these people just to make a sale? I won't do that. And he goes, they don't work. I go, okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I will bet you $100 against a chocolate donut. If you're right and you get to decide, I'll pay you $100. If I'm right, you got to buy me a chocolate donut. Okay? And he says, okay, I'll take that bet. I go, you bring your favorite fins. We're going to get in the pool. So he brings his favorite fins, right? I'm sure he knew there was going to be a contest. And I said, okay, I want you to take your fins. I want you to swim across the pool, count your kick cycles. And he comes back, he goes, okay. I said, put the split fins on. Count your kick cycles. He comes back, he goes, that was hardly different. That's not worth the difference in the money and all that. And I go, okay, now that you're used to kicking and you've got it down, be honest with yourself. I want you to do 2 laps, Olympic size, lengthwise, and I want you to come back and tell me which one gave you the lowest kick cycles. And he comes back, he says, oh, okay, well, that was pretty good. I felt like I was moving a little quicker. Okay, okay. I go, now here's the test. Which is your strongest foot? And he says, my right foot. I said, you put your favorite fin on your right foot. I'm going to put the split fin, you put the split fin on your left foot. And he said, okay. I said, now I just want you to go across the pool. Come back and then tell me what you think. And he goes out, he doesn't even make it halfway across the Olympic-sized swimming pool. And he turns around and he comes back, he's on the side of the pool, he looks up at me and he says, you want chocolate sprinkles with that? Right? So I made him a believer right there, but it was really because the fin that he had tried before, he was telling the truth. It was BS. He just couldn't stand the fin because it just didn't work. And some of them don't. And some of them work great. And that's why you have 2 different opinions. Okay? So you can check out some videos we have on the reviews of all the different fins. We've done lots of them. But you can also go to the points of how to buy a scuba and snorkel fin. Okay? Check them out. See what you think. I hope this has helped in some way. Make it a great day. You know, the difference between a new diver and an experienced diver is often the tips and the tricks they learn along the way. That's why we do these, to help you. If you can think of someone else you think might benefit from the tips and tricks, just share the videos with them. And you know how you can help us? Just hit that like button below. That'll help us. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and we'll let you know when the next video comes out. Have a great day.